All right, let's get to it. We got a week of January 30 through February 5. Like I was just saying a minute ago, before all that, we have NFP on Friday. So when we look at gold, we'll consider that NFP news release when planning the entries. But we're going to start with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, obviously, we're already in the short on the daily. As you can see here, we spiked down. We made this low of pretty much 33,000, and we had a ton of rejection there. Then we pulled up to this high of essentially 39,000 of a ton of rejection there. And we're looking to take this down back to this low, because essentially, even if we're going to go up or down, it's going to come back down here first, because if price is going to pull up, say, to 44,000, which at some point that trade will happen, first it's going to come down here and grab the liquidity by either taking this wick out or coming all the way down here and kind of making that sort of lovely pattern, or taking this low out, which is what I'm really betting on, coming all the way down here to like 31, 32,000, and then we'll go from there. Not trying to predict it that far. Going into the 4 hour, as you can see, I already have some stuff marked up. So this area of supply right here, this little wick, is exactly where price tapped, and we actually got an entry on that earlier this week. And when price got down here, I think that was like, yeah, it was like 300 pips. I closed pretty much like 90% of that trade when it was down in this area, because that's 300 pips. That's a good trade. And I was not expecting price to dump to these lows yet. I mean, price just doesn't do that normally. That got tapped out. And right here, we entered again. I entered again. Maybe some of you did as well. I really thought we were going to dump from here. We actually got this huge spike up that was literally 2 pips away from the stop loss, and then it closed with really nice rejection, closed bearish. And then what happened is we snapped up here really quickly. So I'm looking at this as more like a liquidity grab to stop everyone out, including us or me and whoever else entered. But we got another entry when this was forming. So if we zoom in on the 1 hour, this is exactly when we entered. I came back to the chart, and these 2 hours, this one is just about to close. And with that sort of rejection, I mean, there's nothing else to do just but to enter, because it's similar to, right here, or even down in these areas, like these huge wicks. It's grabbing liquidity, like right here, comes up, pushes down. Anyway, so we got an entry right here. Going forward, I'm going to go into a 30-minute now. Looking at this structure, what I'm liking is how we broke this low of 37.8. As you can see, we held that for 18 hours. We could not break that, and we pulled back above here, above this VWAP. Yeah, that's placed properly. Came back down. I actually almost called another entry right here, but I decided it's not worth it because we already got stopped out once, and we just want to protect the capital. But as you can see, now we're on the lower end of this VWAP, which I anchored to the spike. So this is something I am getting familiar with. I use it. I mean, I've been using it for like a month now, but I'm still learning with it. However, what I am expecting now is a possible pushback up because of this support right here. Right? We have this support right around 37,400 essentially. If we come back up, I would like to see price respect 38,000 area, which is going to line up with these highs as well as the mid VWAP. So we'll see what happens. It looks like price currently, this candle opened 9 minutes ago. Looks like we are getting that pressure to the upside. So I'm totally fine with that. I would like to see price respect this area right here. However, I'm also open to the idea of price coming all the way back up to these highs and even tapping this high out. if that happens, I'll definitely be calling another entry. Because if we can, hold on, let me paint this picture. So what I would like to see, I'm going to delete this VWAP too, just for a minute now. I would like to see, honestly, I like to see price just dump, but if it does push up here, I would like to see it come up here and see how it just wicks into these levels. If we come up here under this second level with the bodies of the candle and start stalling, and then we pop up here really fast and start making a wick and coming back down, then that's a for sure entry right there, and I'll call it, because that's just pulling back up, grabbing the orders, right? Because a lot of people who maybe sold here or sold here, their stop losses are likely above this area, or above this one. But I don't think we will tap this high out, because if this is where the banks are entering and getting liquidity from, they won't pull it all the way back out and go negative on themselves, but they'll pull it close and they'll get other people out. So that's what I'm kind of aiming towards going forward. Pretty much just Monday. Yeah, we'll wait and see what happens Monday, because during the weekend, price is kind of slow. Normally it sets up, and then during the week is when it really moves. It'll take that last grab and then it'll actually dump. So that's what I'm expecting tomorrow, is making that last grab, possibly right above these highs. So I have an entry at 38,400, right? So maybe go 10 pips and draw down, if that. But we'll all see, because there's also this high right here that I was talking about earlier. We could also just pull up in here and tip over. So it all depends. I just have this high marked right there. On the double end of that, zooming in a little bit, you can see we would get above that VWAP. And essentially what I'm looking for with this VWAP is when I'm placing it here, that's when a majority of the orders were placed. I mean, if you look at the price action, how it just dumped and then it came up, made the huge wick, and then it started rolling over. This dump right here, this initial dump, is when all the institutions initially dumped all their sell orders. And then there's a second one right here is where they dumped some more of their sell orders. You can tell by the size of the candle and the size of the wick, because even on the 5-minute, I'm sure that's a decent wick. So what I'm looking for is price to get from this timestamp to now, or when it comes up here, price will be overpriced again. It's saying price a lot. So I like saying like the market is overpriced again. So right now the market is underpriced compared to here. And what I'm looking for the market to do is get overpriced one more time, similar to this, even if it goes higher than that, because at that point, this high of the VWAP will be dragged down a little bit more. So that's why I'm saying, like, just in this region is where I'm looking to, if price gets to that region, I'll be looking to enter. The same thing goes with the weekly VWAP. If I turn on, that's an actual indicator, not a tool. Same principle applies. As you can see, we're overpriced on the week, and every time it gets really overpriced, it pulls back and it tests that mid VWAP. So what I want to see is, obviously this new week is going to start, it starts at 7. So right at this line, a new one will start and it'll be super small again. But this is still kind of like there, but in the background, like it's still overpriced. So that would also line up with selling in this area, price, the market being overpriced again. But let me delete that, because I don't like having it on all the time. It's just too much noise on the chart. That's what we're looking at for Bitcoin. My stop is 39,000 flat. So it's 60 pip stop loss, is pretty much right above this. I'm not expecting price to go above this high. And as you can see here, when price pushed up right here, it had all the opportunity to just push up a little bit more. I mean, that's like 30 pips. If it really wanted to take that high out, it could have done that so easy right here, but it didn't. And I believe it did it for a reason, which is because they didn't want to take out their own position. And I believe that's the same thing that's going to happen with this push up. If we do come up here, we might come close, but I don't think we'll take out the position. So I might move my stop loss just above this high, actually, just to take off. I mean, that would knock off 25 pips. So I'm going to wait to do that. But yeah, I probably will be doing that shortly, is moving my stop loss pretty much right at the high, like right on the high. But Bitcoin, there's not much to it other than that. I mean, I kind of am nonstop with Bitcoin. I didn't really take a pause, and I've been sending stuff over the weekend. So this is just what my chart looks like. We could do, if you'd like these squeezes, could draw these on. I like these squeezes. Right, so hopefully we can see this tip over. But I could see the 4-hour coming up here and wicking above this. So keep eyes peeled for that. And obviously I'll send it in the chat. I'm going to add an alert actually right under it, in case I'm not looking at the chart. So that's it for Bitcoin. The targets are target 1, and this is essentially target 2. If price is going to come all the way down here, it's going to take this low out. So it's going to come down here. And that target is based, obviously that's that low. And then we have these lows right here. These are the next daily lows past this one right here. And then obviously there's these lows, but I don't think we're gonna crash like that. I mean, we could, but this is kind of what I'm looking at, is come down here, maybe even do this. It's very possible, even if we just do that or this. Either way, even if prices, or it's just gonna come up to these highs. Either way, regardless of if it's going to come up or if it's just going to dump, I think right now we are going to move to these lows, which, oops, that's 1 minute. We want 1 hour. 38,400 to just under these lows. That's 245 pips. So once it breaks these lows, if it doesn't keep dumping and it starts ejecting, I'm going to close probably, I don't know, somewhere between 60 and 80% of my position. And I'll leave the rest to see if it hits these lows down here. But, it just all depends what happens. So yeah, for right now, just push up here, 18,400 or 38,400 area, possibly second entry. And then we just hold it to the downside. Gold. All right, now we got gold. Gold last week was flawless, to say the least. I mean, it was just a great analysis, great trade. Dumped like 700 pips in 2 days. It was awesome. So anyone who was in that, congratulations to that. Going forward, I don't think this move is done yet. I think we're going to get another leg down. And this week, I think we might be able to play both sides of that. So looking at the weekly, actually, I'm just going to go to the daily. Why did the lines? I don't know why the lines went away. So let's go back in time to this low right here. And when that got stopped out, we entered a buy to buy up to here. The interesting thing that price did this week is that got stopped out. So now we have these 3 lows that are all lower than each other. And to me, that just screams buy. But I don't think it's going to be a huge buy. I think we're just going to pull back, and then we're going to dump to 1750 and possibly even 1720 the following week. So this might be like a 2 or 3 week cycle from this week. So we'll go to the 4-hour. These are my targets for the buy. We have 1816, this little high right here, and then we have 1810, the clean psych level. It also lines up with the structure right here and the high of this wick. Excuse me. Marking up that low, as you can see, price tapped that low out with 2 4-hour candles and closed up here. Based off the fact that we know how the daily candles work, how they always create wicks, and how gold works, how it always stops out the previous wick before it goes to the upside or downside. It depends which way you're playing it. Going forward with gold, I'm just going to go right into the 30-minute, and I'm going to go right into the 10-minute actually. I'm going to delete this for now. I'll put it back on. So we made the low, we came up, and we squeezed right here, and then we popped out. We hit, let's turn our eyes to right here. When it pushed up right here, it hit this level, came all the way back down, almost took that out, pushed all the way back up, took this high out, pushed all the way back down here, gained a little respect, and then towards the end of the day, it just slowly moved its way up. Next week, this coming week, what I'm expecting is this low to be taken out quickly. And I mean that in when it actually gets down to this level, I don't think it'll stay there. But I also mean as far as like the week time frame goes, I don't think it's going to take a few days to come down here and take that out. There's a lot of movement in the market. There's a lot of orders being placed right now. And I think it has the ability to even possibly Monday morning, tomorrow morning, if price is down here and it shows, yeah, I'm going to mark this. I'm going to mark 8 o'clock. So come 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, New York session open. If price is in this area, I'm going to be watching it for buy. And obviously I'll let you guys know and I'll give updates if I enter what I'm looking for and stuff like that. Couple of reasons. Obviously, what am I doing? So obviously because of the daily and the 4-hour just wanting to stop this low out because everyone who bought right here has a stop loss at 1780 and the banks see that and it just makes complete sense for them to continue pushing it down probably to 1777 or something or 1779. It doesn't even have to come that far below it and then push it back up because if this starts dumping right here, first off, it's going to take out all the liquidity from the buyers and sellers are going to start hopping in thinking it's going to continue. And then they're just going to send it to the upside and they're going to take, they already took the buyers out and then they're going to take the sellers out as they fly it to the upside. And then once all the sell stop losses fill, that'll create a lot of volume in the market and then it should just continue to the upside. So with gold, that's my plan for the beginning of the week is buying it around 1780. As you can see, same concept, but now it's on the flip side because we're buying. If we compare it to when I place it with gold, same thing. That's when it came down and that's when the liquidity first entered the market. And as you can see here, got overpriced and then it came back down. The market became underpriced and then they took it back up. So I think we're going to come back down to this level again, take that liquidity out right here, and then place the entry for the buys. Okay, so even if we just go to 1810, that's going to be 300 pips. If we make it up here, obviously that's another 60. If it goes higher, which I highly doubt is going to happen, that's even more pips. But I want to be closing a vast majority of the position at 1810. Like probably like 85% of the trade is being closed at 1810, no matter what, because I truly believe we are going to see price continue down. Now, I wanted to show you something that I saw the other day. I was doing a little back testing. Well, not even back testing. I was just looking at the market because what I do a lot is I'll look at what the market is doing right now, and then I'll go back in time and find it happening again or before. So looking here, we have this huge dump and price came down and made this low right here. Then it pushed up, and I'm going to go to the 1 hour actually. Came down, made the low, pushed up, stopped that low out because everyone who bought right here had stop losses under there, stopped them out with a wick. And look at the timestamp on the bottom. That's 9 in the morning. That's right on par with New York session open. So 9 in the morning, comes down, takes everyone out. We enter a buy, just hypothetically speaking, right? Enter a buy. The target is up here because we're thinking this move is going to continue. So we got the high target, which is 1822, and then we got this target, which is 1811. Target was hit, closed the trade. Let's see what the timestamp is. 6, 7, 8, right? Enter around here. Look for a sell opportunity. Dumps. Continues. How many pips? 500 pips. So this picture right here, I'm not trying to say this is exactly what the chart is going to look like this week, but the overall flow of what this market is doing is the point I'm trying to get across. How there's a huge dump, and then the dump made a low, and then the following day it gets stopped out, and then it pushes up to that support, and then it resistance, and then it dumps again. What's interesting about this one though is look at the levels. This is 1782 and this is 1810 essentially. And if we cut back the replay and look at these levels, it's the exact same thing. 1780 and our target is 1810. Obviously, it's a little bit different, so I shouldn't say exact. It's not the exact same, but it's very similar. It's very similar, and that's not coincidence. That's just the nature and the flow of the market, which is why every time we enter, I'm always saying, we more specifically with gold, but other pairs do that too. We mark the low, and once it takes the low out, it's going to grab the liquidity to make the move. That's how we bought here. That's how we bought here. That's how we sold here. So that's what I'm expecting this week is just simply the same thing over and over again. We're going to come out here, take this liquidity out quickly, and then it's going to push up here. And once we're up here, I'm not expecting the price to spend a lot of time up there. So it'll be possibly quick. Tying in non-farm payroll, that is right here on this hour. So looking at this, that gives us plenty of time for price to come down here Monday morning and make its way up here throughout the week. And then, excuse me, then Thursday, or yeah, probably Thursday night or sometime Thursday, close the buys, or whenever it gets up here, really close the buys. And then with non-farm payroll, no matter what the results are, if it's bad for the US dollar, if it's good for the US dollar, doesn't matter. Whatever the results are, I'm going to be watching the price on the 5-minute and seeing which way it grabs liquidity from. Because if price, obviously, before I say that, if the news is good for the US dollar, obviously that is a really good bonus because fundamentally that means gold is going to go down. What's most important is what's actually going on in the market, which is the technicals and the orders. But if fundamentally it also matches, then that's A1. If that happens, then you just risk a little bit more because it's a little bit more likely to happen, or a lot more if you're in that type of mood. Yeah, that's the plan for gold. There's not really much more to speak on with that. And on the daily, just printing that picture out, nice wick. I mean, it would be similar to like this right here. Obviously, not exactly the same. We're at daily candles and this stalled for 6 days. That is not what I'm expecting. However, the same sort of flow of how price dumped, then it pushed up and then it dumped again. That's what I'm trying to get at here. Even like trying to find a really good example. Like even like right here, obviously it's not exactly the same, but let's say, look, that's 420 pips to the upside, and then another 1,300 down after it already dumped 1,100 pips. That's crazy movement. 1,100 down, 420 up, and then what was it? 1,300 down. That's just, I mean, you wouldn't expect or you wouldn't think the market can move like that, but it really can. It really does whatever it wants. And yeah, that's what I'm feeling is prices. I feel like the sell-off that we had here is not done yet. And looking at the weekly, this level is at 1810. It would make sense for the next week to come up and make a wick and then dump. Look right here. This is exactly what I'm looking for, basically. Push down. How big is this wick? That's a 200 pip wick. Then a 600 pip drop. That would be a 200 pip, not even 200 wick, 200 pips. But we're not looking to enter right here. We're looking to enter down here. That's how we're going to get, you know, more pips, 300. But it just makes sense on the weekly if if you just look at the weekly. Then we have one more.
Should I close gold then?
I still hold some. I still have a sell. I still have partials because I highly doubt it's gonna come all the way back up here. There's no way. So I'm holding partials because I mean,
Yeah, I'm
1,000.
at 200 flat at with a 0.04.
Yeah, so I would hold that. I mean, if you wanted to, you could close a little bit more, or just hold it. And because we're gonna sell again anyway, it's not gonna come all the way back up here. I'll say this: once price takes this low out, depending on fundamentals, at that point, I would consider, okay, maybe prices took this out. Maybe it wants to take these highs out, or it's going to drop down to 1720. But I highly doubt it'll come back here anytime soon. Might be months. So I would hold it. I'm holding it. I hold some parcels. The last pair I'm trading or I'm looking at this week is pound yen. And as you can see, this is the weekly time frame. We had a nice sell-off here. We did get a sell entry somewhere. I think it was like 156 point. I forgot exactly what my entry was, but good calls here. We hit the target of 153, and that's exactly where I was looking to buy from. And as you can see, price pushed up really strongly from that level. However, I don't think we're done with that level yet. I think we're going to come back to it. But I don't think we'll stay there that long if we do. All depends on what happens, obviously. But as of right now, I'm looking to short. So let's get into that. Okay, now that we're zoomed in, 1, 2, 3. That's where we got the sell entry. I believe Sean gave a signal out. My entry is at like 154.8 or something like that. But I believe we're going to get another entry because I think this daily candle is going to come up and make a wick similar height to here. So zoom in on a 4-hour. Let's go to the 1-hour. Love that VWAP. Okay, I'm going to delete that for now. But I'm going to put that back on because I am expecting a buy once we get down here, and I'll explain why I have that on here. So when price came into this area, this is the dump. So I just anchored the VWAP there. These highs, right? Just keep that in mind. I'm going to delete this, but up here, hold on, let me delete this first. It's just a lot of noise in the background. You know what? Maybe I will keep it on. No, I won't. It's easier to read without. Just to show you guys. I'm expecting pound yen to come all the way down to these lows. And from here, I'm looking to possibly buy. Okay, that's the long term or short term, I guess. It probably won't take that long, but that's the game plan. That being said, going forward with the sells, there's going to be a good opportunity because that's 200 pips and we're already in that right now. And if it breaks that, it's going to go even lower than 200 pips. So I'm simply, I mean, there's not really much analysis here. I'm simply waiting to see if price pulls up here again to enter another time. And that's completely based on the fact of these daily candles. I want to see, in order to enter again, obviously if it just dumps, it's fine because we're already in it. But if price pulls up to, I'm going to mark this high actually. Between these levels right here, the price pulls up in here and starts reversing, which I think honestly, just based off of what I've noticed from the yen, typically it'll do that at night. Well, for me, that's at night, around midnight or a little bit after midnight. So is that going to happen tonight? Maybe, maybe not. Tomorrow night, that's a better possibility. So depending what price does, obviously it has the ability to just drain, which would be totally cool. But just to plan ahead in case it does come up, that's what I'm looking for, is price to come up into this area. So I'm only going to enter again if we come between these levels and start rejecting at night, because it's important. Price is important when you're entering, like what price you're getting at, but timing is equally as important, because you could enter, I mean, you think about it, okay, if you were looking to sell pound yen at 154.7, you could enter right here, but the timing of that is just not good. You're holding for 4 days. Even, you go and draw down, it's whatever, it's only 25 pips drawdown and it's going to dump, 200 pips. So you made money. I mean, you just, the timing wasn't the best, because now you hold over, all the swaps and fees and maybe mixed emotions from it going in profit and loss and things like that. So timing is important. What I've noticed is I typically plan my entries for the yen at night, or obviously in the morning around New York open. I'm not awake for London, so I'm not going to plan to enter around then. But I have had good results with that. Obviously, London works too, but at night, that's pretty much what it is right before London. So like around 12 to 2 p.m. Eastern time is when I notice a good time to enter. But obviously sometimes in the morning too, like the timestamp my line is on now is 9 in the morning. That's when it started moving down. But we entered, or I forgot when the signal was given, but I entered the sell here, because it was, look at the timestamp, it was right around, it had to be on this week because I didn't stay up till 3. That's 2. I didn't stay up that late. So I must have actually been entering on this candle as it started pushing down, like right here. Literally like the close of this candle that my cursor is on is where I entered. But yeah, that's pretty much it. There's not much more to it other than the fact that, oh yeah, actually, I almost forgot to explain that. Okay, so forget about the sellers for just a second. From a buyer's perspective, which is what I'm really looking for here, is a buy up into like this area right here, this chop. From a buyer's perspective, from the VWAP, we can see the market right now is overpriced, and it's, as you can see, it actually follows mid VWAP pretty well when it's trending. Anyway, if I'm an institution and I'm looking at this and a lot of the orders are placed right here, the market is overpriced right now. So if I'm going to buy in for the swing trade, I'm not going to buy up here. I'm going to wait till it's underpriced, which is under the VWAP. On the smaller time frame, when I had that one right here, maybe I can layer it. Should I layer it? Delete this. We can see if you're now flip that perspective again. If I'm selling the market, because let's say I'm the bank and I want to, you can't see where I'm pointing. I want to take price down here. If I'm selling, I don't want to sell when the market is underpriced. I want to sell when the market is overpriced. So that's kind of a confluence. And that's basically exactly how I'm using the VWAP. And you can do it on the weekly level too. It's the same thing. I mean, it looks different, but it's the same concept is what I'm getting at. Because look, as you can see right here, dumped for the week, market underpriced, so they buy it. Now it's overpriced, so they're selling it. Let's bring it back down to underpriced. Disregard the weekly and throw it on where the liquidity stepped in. Same, very similar, very similar. Underpriced is in this area. Delete that. So when price does get down here, I am going to be looking for a buy. It's possible that it takes this level out, 152.9. It is possible, but it doesn't necessarily have to, obviously, because of this week right here when we are selling from the top. It didn't take that out and it dumped crazy. And just looking at this weekly, that is a huge wick. So put your eyes right here. Imagine this, but flipped. So if this is bullish, I mean, it's blue, so technically it's bullish, but you guys get what I'm saying. See this wick, how it just came all the way down here and then it exploded. I'm not saying this week is going to explode like that, but what I am getting at is I want to see price come down here before it, actually, let me just put it over here. I want to see price come down here before it pushes up, which this is really the target I want to be looking for if that opportunity happens. I'm open to the fact of it dropping. I mean, the first trade that we're looking for is a sell, and we're already in that. And this week, we're possibly obviously going to enter again. So yeah, if it does break this and it continues down to new lows, that's going to be cool. But I am going to be closing the trade around here. So if it dumps, then it dumps. Let's look at the basket real quick. So the basket, part of the reason why I see pound yen coming back to the upside is because I see the yen basket going down, but not right now. I think right now it's going to come up. We have this high here, which is obviously the structural support or resistance at 92.43. Let's break down these days one by one. Price pushed up here, pushed up, closed, massive rejection. Second, massive rejection. Third day, it actually dumped, but it closed with rejection on the buyer's side. But then the next 2 days, it went completely sideways. It still hasn't even broken out of this dump. These 3 candles tell me that the yen wants to go down. These 2 candles tell me it's not ready yet. I would like to see the yen come up to these highs one last time. And on one of the days, close with a pin bar again, similar to this, or just a bearish candle like that. And at that point, we would also be entering the buy on the yen. But for now, I think this is going to push up, and that would help bring the yen down. Now, part of the reason is that of that is because I see this as a corrective structure, right? Because if this is going to continue, then it would form a corrective structure down here, which it would eventually, that would be pulling the yen up anyway. So either way, I think the yen will go up in the long run, which again isn't that long. It's days or a couple weeks, maybe. 4 hour, I just have this area marked. I mean, I'm not going to get that into it because there's nothing really to get into. It's just watching it. But yeah, I want to see the yen come up into this area again, or maybe even above it, and then push down. And if that happens, then we'll definitely be entering the buy with the yen. Because on the weekly time frame, it just makes so much sense for a candle to come down here and either stop it out or come close to it, which is why I have that other level marked, like this one right here, which also, if I put the VWAP on again, I didn't remember deleting it. It's under the market, it's underpriced. Come down here and then either close back up here and then the next week push up or just explode up. Doesn't matter. I'm not trying to call it out like that, but you guys get the point of what I'm seeing. Either way, we're coming down. If price is going to explode up, it's going to come down and make a wick, or prices are going to come down because it's going to make new lows. So either way, it's coming down. So we're shorting it. When it gets to the lows, it's possible we're going to buy it. And we can also use fundamentals mixed with that. Bitcoin, real quick, that was it for me. Does anyone have questions on any pairs I went over or the VWAP? No.
What about another pair?
This is all I've looked at. This is the only thing I've put my time and energy into. I can look at another pair if you want, but that's all I got. That's all I'm looking at, which is, I know Colton, Sean sent the video about New Zealand dollar yen. Pretty much the same thing with this is I think it'll pull back. And I haven't even analyzed this, but I think we'll pull down to these lows. And then depending on what the basket does, we could run back up to these highs. But this also depends on the New Zealand dollar too. So something like this, oops, I'm still getting used to this tool. Even if we did that, like this, I'm gonna go in the 4 hour. I could see price pulling back up to one of these levels, not this one, like right here, or even right here. I mean, shoot, if it comes up here, I don't think that'll happen. I really don't think that'll happen. How many pips is this? 60 pips, yeah. I could see price coming back up here and then rejecting and selling from there. That'd be 150 pips. I don't really see it popping up much higher than this unless New Zealand dollar gains a lot of strength. And obviously it could just explode. But other with just looking at based off of what we're looking at with the yen basket and pound yen, I could see it popping up here, maybe throwing a wick above this level, but not closing with a body above it and then dumping. Again, unless New Zealand dollar comes out with some crazy strength or something, then it doesn't matter what the yen is doing.
Look at US 30.
US 30. Man, US 30 went ballistic last week. I tried buying it and
Yeah.
I was just too early, dude. I was just did I have that one mark?
I was selling it the whole way down.
I'll show you exactly what happened with me at least. 30 minutes. It had to have been. I might have to go to the 10-minute just to show you. No, I put that level. Hold on. Oh yeah. So I had these levels marked right here. So these lows, because I didn't think it would tap that out. So I had these lows and this low. So those two levels I just showed you are these two levels right here. Okay. Price came down here. This is the morning too. This is New York open. Price came down here, 10-minute time frame. Wick down, came back up. I was like, all right, enter. And then it just smoked me. And then it jumped. It dumped all the way down to these lows. And it exploded up. I mean, it's crazy. Then I actually went to enter again, and I didn't mean to. I decided not to, and then I entered. I entered once. Where was it? Right here. And then it dumped, and then I went to enter again. I think it was on the 5-minute. And then it started dumping again. I think it was, yeah, like right. Yeah. So I entered right here, stop loss right under the wick, took me out, pin bar. And then this candle, obviously, you see this wick, it started pushing up. I was like, all right, so maybe that was one last liquidity grab. And then it started pushing back down. And then I decided not to enter. But then it snapped down here. Gold or US 30 is just crazy, dude. I don't understand it yet. Just it moves so sporadic, so fast, so many pips. I mean, this is 8 hours right here, and the low to the high, that is 1,300 pips
Wow.
in 8 hours. It's crazy. And then the next day it goes down 800, and then I mean, it just moves so crazy. But I think it's gonna come all the way up here. All right, we'll see you later, Steve. Have a good week. Have a great week. So this is the exact vision I expected with US 30, but it was actually these two levels right here. I didn't think this wick was going to come all the way down here, and I wasn't expecting that. So I didn't even look at the chart after that happened in the morning. I didn't even look at it. So maybe if I kept focus, I would have got an entry and called it for you guys, but I accidentally entered. First, I got taken out. Then I accidentally entered the trade. Instead of closing the order, I accidentally entered it. And after that, I was like, fuck US 30. I'm done with it. But I'm expecting with the push down of gold, I'm expecting US 30 to possibly make new all-time highs, but the target is 36,000, which is this high right here. So I see US 30 at least coming right here, and then maybe doing something like this. See how it dropped and then it made a new high. And that's based off the dollar strength. So actually, one more thing here before I end it is the dollar strength. We're already on the weekly. Okay. Huge strength. Huge strength. And we're coming into these highs right here. We're coming back up towards 100. And it is very possible that price can just continue to explode up. I do think we're going to come down and make a wick, which will give us that buy on gold. And after that, we're going to sell gold again because I see this is the weekly. I see gold or dollar index continuing to rise. not saying it necessarily has to like completely explode like this again for the next few weeks, but I do expect constant or consistent upwards movement over the next month at least or two. Um, as you can see, it has the ability to just push heavily, which is going to drive that gold short down to like 1720. So let me pull up gold real quick. So many lines on that chart. I'm deleting that one. I should just make it only show in the lower time frame. So with that gold or with that dollar index moving up, that's why I'm expecting these lows to be hit. I mean, we're getting the, I'm gonna draw it like this. We're getting the squeeze, you know. And if this week, look, that's a tiny wick. I mean, this is 300 pips, but that's all that we need. I mean, as soon as it hits like 1810, let me rephrase that. The morning that gold is around 1810, no doubt about it. When it grabs liquidity, I'm gonna enter sell, and obviously I will tell you guys that when that happens. But yeah, this is probably just gonna drain, and I am planning. I don't know if anyone else is still in gold. Well, remember, you're still in gold.
Yeah.
I am not going to close this until we either, I'm going to let it price take me out. I'm either going to close it down here at like 1720 or 1680, or it's going to come up and take me out. But even if it takes like 4, 5, 6 weeks, which I don't think it would take that long, I never get in gold, bro. You got to get in gold this week.
Wait, so what do you think I should do? Should I buy then?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a buy opportunity that
Look in the
you
yeah.
can you can hold your sell
Yeah, and
with
enter
the
for a
buy.
buy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because our sell entry is literally up here.
Yeah.
And yeah, this tripped me out right here because this looked like a bull flag. And yeah, I can do that.
Should I wait for a pullback to enter for a buy?
Yeah, we're looking to buy on this under this low,
Oh, yeah, okay.
right under this low. This line is tomorrow morning. So more specifically, tomorrow morning, if the price of gold is in this area, I'm going to be watching it on the 5-minute. And if it starts snapping down and snapping back up, we're going to enter and I will share it with everyone.
All right.
That's about it. That's all I got. So hopefully we can see some nice movement this week. We got nice Bitcoin shorts. One more thing to add. I know I always keep saying one more thing. Obviously, I already said once price breaks this, once it gets just under this level, I'm going to be looking to close most of the Bitcoin trade because I think what's going to happen. Oh, I already said this actually, but I think what's going to happen is like somewhere around here, we're going to make a support and then we're going to drop. I think we're going to pull back up to that support one more time before we actually make the huge move down. Very, very similar to what happened here. Now, I'm not calling this exact movement, but I'm calling the flow of it. How we had the big liquidity spike, the initial push down, the pullback, the slow move down, tick these lows out, which we actually entered here. I'm calling like we literally entered right here, closed most of it right here. And then it pulled back to these highs, entered again, and closed, unfortunately, at like 40,000. Was not expecting that full dump. Yeah, Colton, you do say I'm going to do it next time. Better do it this time.
So we're looking to get into more sales if it goes back up to 38.
Yeah, so two scenario. I mean, Yeah, I'm gonna paint that picture. Two scenarios, either from here now, before it dumps, it pulls back up and we enter again. Once it comes back down here, unless it's just blast right through, I'm talking with speed. Like if it just is starting to plummet right through it and the hour closes under it, then obviously I'm going to hold the trade to these lows. But if price slows down at this level, the sells that we have now, and possibly if we enter again right here, I'm going to close most of that trade right here because that's like 200, 300 pips. That's a good trade. But I will keep some, I'll keep a very small portion of the position open because I think we'll pull back one more time and then dump, like the full dump into maybe even 28,000. Should be cool. Should be really cool. Long term, this is what I'm seeing right here. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. So when we get to 28K, we might be having a huge buy. That's 1,500 pips. And when Bitcoin explodes, it can explode. So that might
For
be,
sure.
yeah, that might be something like this. Except instead of continuing up, I think it'll keep going down. I don't think we're ready yet for another bull run. Just doesn't line up. Dude, I'm telling you, when Bitcoin hits 19,000, 20,000, dude, I'm dropping multiple lots. And my plan is I'm actually going to open up a second MetaTrader in Osprey and fund that specifically for the buy at 20,000. And I will hold that for like months.
Hugo.
That way it doesn't, yeah, or Hugo. They're pretty much the same thing.
That's tense.
Yeah, I mean, even a 1 lot for you is a 10 lot for me with Bitcoin.
Yeah. That's why I'm in Bitcoin right now.
Yeah. So
Point one, point 0.01, $200. Well, not right now, but
you have a 0.0.
easy. Yeah, I had a 0.02 in there, but then once it dropped, I grabbed 200.
Yeah,
It
because
was at 400. Been pulled
we
back though.
we sold right here and
Yeah.
I closed most of the trade. Same concept. See how this low right here and then it took it out and it pulled back. Right. So that's why I closed
Yeah.
most of the trade right here. Now we got the second phase. So we're gonna do this. This is how the dump, take that low out, pull back, and then dump again. We're gonna do that, I think, one more time before we dump into the low lows. That's a big trade. This is 1,000 pips right here.
Yeah. If we go back up to this 38, I'm definitely gonna be putting in
I
more.
could see price pushing down to 35 and then pulling. I could definitely see price pulling back up to 38,000. And if that happens and we reject, then we enter sells, big sells,
Yeah.
and we take a bag home. So it's interesting to see. I'm not expecting too much movement until tomorrow. I guess the market opened, or yeah, I guess the market opened, the forex market opened 30 minutes ago. But yeah, I'm still not expecting movement until like Monday, because that's when the firms open. Or later tonight, because that's the morning for other countries.
Yeah.
All right.
right.
That's it. I will send the recording to Sean and send the charts in the chat so you guys have them. And let's have a good week, guys.
Let's get it. I'll see y'all later.
Oh, I forgot my camera's on, man. That's hilarious.